Hello, welcome to Floyd Models Kit Review Time. Today we got Ryfield Models. This is their new Jagpanther G2 in 1/35 scale with full interior. Now you might remember we actually did the King Tiger by Takom a few years ago now and absolutely loved the detail in full interior kits. I think it just adds that next level of almost engineering into the kit, which is really nice because you can see the workings of everything that's going down in amongst them. Now how you display it is going to be up to you. I know some people like me just have it as a removable part so you can open it up and physically have a look at it. Other people do quite interesting sort of diorama type ways of showing it so you can see all that gorgeous working on the inside. But there is just something that takes the model to that next level. If you're happy just doing external versions, then absolutely kudos to you. But if you do want to take it to that next bit with all the engine and then obviously all the armament system and the crew areas, things like that, then definitely it's something worthwhile having a look at. So as you can see, this is Ryfield Models' latest one. Kit number for this one is 502. As I said, comes with full interior. Nice little bit of box art on the front. A look at what you're actually going to get, and this is what we're talking about. So you'll be able to work on all the engine down in here, and obviously down in the fighting compartment and the crew quarters, right the way through the entire model. So just spinning around the box to show you the different markings. Obviously camo by MiG as always, being Ryfield Models. Okay, so down inside the box, you can see it is absolutely jammed, and I mean properly full up in here. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, including this one, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, so there's 2 in there, 17, 18, 19 sprues, plus the fact you've still got, obviously as you might imagine, all the link for the tracks. Okay, we've also got another bit down in here with some of the rubbery parts there for the polycaps and various things down in there. We've also got a spring, we've got, it looks like a little bit of lead wiring down in there and a little bit of braided copper down in those. We've also got down in here a lovely chunk of photo etch as well, so that's really nice, and loads of detail on the back of that photo etch as well. A couple of bits of clear parts as you can imagine. Decals, quite a lot, because obviously you've got the weaponry ones, things like that down in there as well. And down in here, and it looks like he's just taped on, we've actually got, just wondering if this is injection molded, it looks like he's a resin figure as well, taped to the side of the box, and a very nice large instruction manual. And again, that's a chunk and a half. This isn't just a lightweight one, this is proper chunk in here. So anyway, as always, we'll start in the actual manual itself. Parts call out for obviously all the trees down in there, just like that, and then working our way through. So there's that spring. It's going to go there to make up the actual gun area with the breech, and obviously all the parts being fitted down here for the fighting compartment down in with the gun. Obviously it's talking about not gluing it, so the spring area will actually work on this one, so it has got a little bit of recoil in there. Then we've actually got the mount for that, and then going right the way through the entire gun area. Then working in the top part of the hull, and you can see you've got multiple parts going down in here, a lot of photo etch being added, some of the details down into this one as well. Okay, got the gun mantle itself being fitted down into there, and then fitting the gun, coaxial gun in there as well, right the way through. See plenty of detail in this kit. Then it's down for the back areas, working with the actual hatches for the engine, the air intakes, things like that, and for the cooling, and those all being fitted in. Again, this is all posable, so a lot of this is pointing out no glue. So obviously you don't want to be gluing anything because you can use it afterwards. Again, lots of parts going down in here, fitting out on the outside of it. Loads of these ones down here for the track. Okay, for the holders for those, and then right the way through, as you can imagine, it just keeps giving and giving. Okay, interesting down in here it's saying per positioning only. Okay, so you don't cement onto those ones, but it's quite an interesting way. Okay, so we've got torsion bar suspension system being fitted down into this one, so it looks like it'll be working as well right the way through, and again showing those fitted down in there like that. Again, loads of photo etch down amongst all the suspension areas down in there. Okay, and then working your way around the entire lower hull section, as you can imagine. Colour call outs, you can see them just down in here. So again, you've got them there and there, and as we said before, it's a little bit limited on the call outs for them, but really they were just overall colours down in there like that, and for the camo on the top side as well. Okay, and then carrying on working our way through and up through the floor section, out the suspension, into the actual fighting compartment, and then into the engine. As you can see, a fully detailed engine right the way through. That's something about this kit: detail, detail, detail. All right, so again, right the way through. We've got a little bit of wiring details here as well, showing about linking those up, and then coming right the way through with the stowage racks for the weapons. Okay, and making your way up out of the hull, fitting all the storage areas in, obviously getting the shells put in. Okay, and then making our way right the way through, back into that engine section, fitting that engine down in there, all the cooling system being connected right the way through, and then so forth and so on. As I say, the radiators down here at the back, and then showing you all in position, a good clear detail right the way through of how it's all going to go. Again, very nice to see that. Then working our way around the back end of it, so you've got the exhaust system, all the areas being fitted down onto there. The wheels, lots of wheels, again showing about no glue into these, so it is a working suspension and working track system on this one. So great for positioning it on dioramas, things like that. Okay, and then working your way through the top hatch and of the armour plating on the top, with all the actual periscopes and various things being fitted down in there. Looks like we get a guide as well for doing the actual track system, so it is multi-part, multi-pin system. That's what's going to make it working as well. Then it's just a case of sandwiching it down in, and then completing off with towing ropes and some of the lighting system and things like that afterwards. Again, if you're a casual modeler, you're probably not going to want to go through the entire length of putting everything in there. If you do want to take your model to that next level, having worked on the King Tiger with the full interior, it is well worth it. I highly recommend, especially if you've got any sort of, love of like engineering and mechanics and things like that, because you can see in detail and you're replicating all of those different areas in there. And that's a nice thing about this kit, the way that you can actually take it to that next level with working suspension, building the engine, the actual fighting compartment, the gun, everything into it. So there's a little bit of something for everybody in there. Just patience, taking your time, working your way right the way through the build. So where should we start? I'll tell you what, let's start with the figure, because he's very nice indeed. So you can see him down in here. It looks like he's got his separate head, and again it looks like one of these new sort of breed of resin, injected resin, I think they are. Can't really see, you can't make out any real seam lines or anything else in there. I don't think it's multi-part injection. It does look like a piece of resin, but he is incredibly nice there for the figure. Other thing that is exceptional is the photo etch. You can probably see in here, what's really nice is the joins from the photo etch to the parts. The actual from the tree is tiny, so minimal cleanup on those as well. That is probably some of the finest photo etch attachment points I think I've ever seen, and some of it, like down in here, is incredibly fragile, so you want to be careful when you're doing it. Same on the other side. This is obviously down in that suspension system with the torsion bar suspension. As you can see, really very nice indeed. Then we've obviously got this polycap type system down in here. As mentioned, it says Panther because obviously it's the same. Okay, and then over here we say we've got that bit of braided cable, the spring, and down in there. The decals themselves looking pretty much as you'd expect. Not much, but obviously the weaponry's all got the various things in there. A couple of little markings, things like that, and you're ready to go. Clear parts, there's no point really getting these out, but obviously you've got the clear parts for the colas themselves, and the various is a clear part right the way in here for that entire top section of the roof. So you could have it as a see-through part, but at the end of the day I think that's personal choice. A couple of things that are really nice is the way that it's actually got the cooling fan in here, and the way that that is moulded in is absolutely gorgeous. Very nice indeed. And then obviously all the other parts, so if you wanted to, you could do this as clear on the top, perhaps do the actual hatches and things solid so you can see down into there. Again, it's one of those ones, it's never easy to decide on which way to sort of show it and open it up. I'm not a fan of the clear stuff, if I'm honest. I think it just detracts somewhat from the model when it's together, when you've got clear parts you can see into, and I don't really like the ones where you cut them away so you can see them into either, because I like them as a tank. I think it's that thing where you can lift off and show them open, or you can close it up, things like that. You've just got options later on down the line. If you wanted to use the, your piece of armour in a diorama, something else like that, you could pop it back together, for instance, and go through it like that. If you're not, then obviously you make your choice up as you make your way through. The link for the track, as you can see, it's a bag of fun. But it is workable and it is pinnable right the way through. Okay, so again, personal choices on those ones. Obviously you could go down the aftermarket route if you so wanted. So down in here, as you can see, we've got the actual main areas, and again it's really nice with these weld lines and obviously all the marks and the various things down into this one. Again, it's a lot of it blank because you're going to be obviously adding a lot of surface detail. The mantle, as you can see down in there, looks very, very nice indeed. Some good detail down in there. Opened up when it will be for all this various stuff going down into the hatches, looks pretty good. And on the inside, nicely done. The nice thing, obviously, is that we've got no ejector pins on the piece whatsoever. They're all cleverly tucked into areas so we can get in and out of the mould without actually putting anything onto here. Literally, we've got two that I've just spotted, one down in here and one in there. That is it. So again, they're not going to take too much to clean up and you're good to go. So you haven't going to be spoiled with having to get rid of all ejector pin marks on the inside to display it. Okay, so again, that's very, very nice indeed. Okay, so working our way through this little lot. Bear with me, it's going to take a while I think because we've got loads of sprues. Okay, so sprue N, as you can see down in here, it's general right the way through. Looks very, very nice indeed. Good, clean, tiny little bit of flash actually on the sprue, but not actually that I can see on any of the parts. I can't see any sink marks or anything else like that. And again, where it's not a problem, you've got ejector pins all over it, but all the parts that are have nothing whatsoever. Again, the mantle systems and the various hatch covers and things like that are beautifully done. So if we just have a little bit of a run through down in here, as you can see, looks very, very nice indeed on all of these. Very nice and good sharpness to the parts as well. It's not like they're just sat here softly moulded. These are crisp, sharp. So obviously things like for your weathering and washes and the filters and stuff are going to absolutely grip to this and give you a very nice look. But generally the texture looks pretty good as well, so no problems with that. But just like the bolt heads and all the detail, highly, highly detailed in all of these areas. They really are very, very nicely done. Okay, so working our way around sprue A. So again, you can see it's absolutely loaded with parts. Let's face it, there's tons of stuff going down on here. And again, running round, you can see on A, looks very, very nice indeed. Some great detail on all of these. And again, I can't see any flaws in this. There is a little bit of burring between. You can just maybe catching it in the light, things like that. Can need a tiny bit of cleanup. Not as clean as I've seen on some of their other stuff, but definitely very, very nicely done. Just a tiny little burring. Again, they tend to not be on the parts, but they're on the sprues. But there is a little bit down here on these springs and things. But yeah, and we're really being very, very picky at this point, purely because it is that good. As I say, I like to find a positive in every kit I do, and not really looking for negatives, but if they're there, obviously we'll point them out. But with this particular kit, I don't think we're going to get many at all. So B, right the way through, very nice. It's funny how they're saying Panther on all of these, so obviously a bit of crossover between the kits, the various things. So some of these items clearly you're not going to be using. Okay, and again, beautifully done, all these small parts, intricate detail, very nice. And again, the sprue points where they're actually onto the part, very, very small. Okay, so minimum cleanup, like this wheel down in here, it's hardly touching on both of those. That's really very, very nice indeed. Beautifully done right the way through that. Okay, so we've got a match pair, I do believe. No, it's not even a match pair. No, R and L. Okay, so we've got R just down in here, and again, really very nice. And obviously the equipment down in here. This is a proper Jagpanther one. So as you can see, all the parts going through. Again, a little bit of burring on some of the hoses, but a couple of swipes will take care of that. No problem with that at all. Really very, very cleanly done on those. And another Jagpanther part. Okay, so we've got some more of the parts for the hatches work, and obviously the towing eyes and the various other small parts of equipment right the way over. Very, very nicely done indeed. Okay. Okay, so shells. So we've got a match pair in here on Sprue S. So actually what we've got is lots of shells, all with the actual heads on right the way through. Again, beautiful work on this fan. The curvature, the engineering in that fan is very nicely done for the cooling fan. And again, there's nothing on the shells at all. And in fact, incredibly, there's really no burring. That's very, very nicely done. So even the shell cleanup is going to be very, very straightforward, very nice. Again, these tiny parts down in here, good quality, sharp injection moulding on all of that. But that's actually quite nice. You haven't got to be farting around cleaning up shells. Okay, right, so, big sprues. Okay, so as you can see down in here, we've got lots of the major parts. So we've got the racks and all the things that are really going to make up your Jagpanther down in here. So again, looking at these parts, very, very nice. And we have got small sink marks in these, and I can physically feel that, and that's actually unusual. It's very rare to see that, but we've actually got a sink mark. And catch it in the light, there we go, you can just about see it there. So that's actually quite a hefty sink mark. There we go, now you can see it, but that there, again, running right the way through. And the reason for that is this big chunk of plastic here. It's just popped out the mould a little bit quick, and it's actually shrunk back down in there, alright? But generally, looking around the rest of it, as you can see, really nice, good, sharp detail like we were saying before. These storage racks looking good, and generally very nice right the way round. So no problems there. Okay, torsion bar suspension system, and we've got okay, match pair on Spruce C. So we've actually got the wheels, standard Panther stuff right the way through with the sprockets. Obviously we've got the arms for the torsion bar suspension right the way through, and again it looks very, very nice. The wheels generally good, sharp detail as we said before, and everything else is beautifully done on that one. So we've got two of those. Okay, and then so we've got lots of Panther parts down in here, obviously for the underside, so that we won't be using all of them. Again, very, very nice job on this one. So some of the towing stuff in here and general stuff probably won't be used, but again, you've got all the parts down in here for a Panther as well. Very nicely done, and again, looking very sharp. And all of these parts, as I say, the way they join onto the actual sprue itself, the locating points are very, very fine, very nice right the way through. So that's actually very nice. Okay, then we've got so obviously down here at the bottom we've obviously got lots of detail, which is quite nice, how everything's going to fit in. Multi-part lower hull right the way through, as you can see on this one. And this is those areas on the side which are going to fit in here for your line-up, and all of those parts running down onto it. And again, it's good detail right the way through. The bolt heads are very nice, and down here on the sides, again, really very nicely done. Good level of detail in all of these, no problems with any of that at all. You have got a lot of ejector pins down in here, but it's going to be buried so deep down amongst all of this stuff, I don't think you're going to worry about it at all. You're not going to see any of it, that's for certain. So we've already seen one of these. I'm sure we've seen one of these, didn't we? So this is the Panther one, and obviously you're probably not going to be using much of this because that's the Panther bit. So we won't go probably too much down in there. And then again, with some of these, got the engine detail in here. Okay, and again, generally beautifully done. No flash really on this sprue at all, which is quite nice. And then working our way around. You can see these for the engines, all the various parts looking very nice indeed. And then right the way around all of these. And obviously a lot of these you're not going to be using because they're a bit from normal. Okay, so plenty of bits for your spares bin with Panther parts, but as you can see, lots of stuff running around all of these. Beautifully done, very nice, good, clean, sharp as ever. And again, looking very, very nice right the way around all of these. Again, it's almost perfect, I would say. There's a couple of little things, like just down in here we've got some ejector pins, but they're really, really shallow. To the point where you're being picky to go around and find them, and a couple of swipes with a standing stick will take care of them. So absolutely ideal. Okay, so down in here, Sprue D, looking very nice right the way through. Again, good sharp details right the way through. Even right the way through to these seats, beautifully moulded the way they've done that. Very, very clever. Okay, and again, tiny little parts, very nicely done. Right the way through. So again, it's one of those ones where there's so much detail to see that picking it all out will be a lot of fun. Okay, last up, we've got the standard Panther. Not a lot of point showing this one, but most of the standard sort of Panther. But what we have got is the pins for all the track system to go down in there right the way through, which lots of fun with that one. I think the shells are a different size between the actual Jagpanther and the standard Panther, so you're probably not going to be using those. And again, a lot of those parts are standard Panther bits, but actually beautifully done. And 2 sprues of that, lots of fun. What's not to love about it? Gorgeous detail. There's a couple of little sink marks in there, but I think they're going to be tucked out of the way, and you're just getting picky. And I'm trying not to be picky on it, but as you say, it's all very well harping on and saying how fantastic this kit is, but it's nice to find things which aren't, and I'll point them out to make our way through. But are you going to see them? No, you're not. Ejector pins, where they are seen, they are very, very shallow, okay, literally to the point where they're almost flush, and other ones are going to be buried under so much detail you're never going to see it. Would I build it? Absolutely, in an absolute heartbeat. It is gorgeous. I've always fancied actually doing their normal Panther, but actually seeing this one is definitely on my hit list to do. As always, it is available through the PM store, so if you want to get it direct from us, you can do as always. But there we go, that's the Ryefield Models 1/35 scale Jagpanther G2 with full interior.